Hello once again for the ultimate contest. Another match for you today. We have Mr. Vishy, an ex-king at rank 6, challenging Harley Quinn at rank 4. Harley Quinn representing the 1% gang, clan, and Vishy representing the Justice Fighter clan. They are currently hidden away in the hangar. Obviously thinking about what ships are good, what ships are bad, you know. And Harley comes out in an Emperor. Okay, so he's not expecting a Hunter then most likely. Because Vishy or V15HY, I don't know how you pronounce it, I'm saying Vishy. And you can deal with it. I believe he does have an Emperor. Does have a Hunter, I mean. Yes, he does. The question is he gonna bring it out? No, it's gonna be an empty Emp. So, mirror matchup. Personally not a big fan of mirror matchups, as I believe most people are not, since there's a lot of RNG involved. There's a little bit of skill in this one. Do you stay at range? Do you want to go in up close? You know, I'm kind of hoping that they stay at range for a while, because there's a bit more play at range. If you just go into melee, it really comes down to the RNG of your hits. There's a little bit of item order and there are some mistakes that you can make, but largely comes down to RNG hits at that point. So I'm hoping they stay at range, and then there's a little bit more variety with RD first, prot first, perf when, stuff like that. But we're gonna see. So the ghost sign has been given. Verify real quick. Harley with a long RD. It's interesting. Drones seem similar enough. Vishy has an Ifrit. Most likely not gonna come into play, but Harley with the long RD is probably favored for range exploiting, so I feel like the pressure is kind of on Vishy to do something about this. First 3 SBs and pretty even. Vishy 3% behind. It's not gonna decide any PvPs. Harley puts a prot, Vishy puts a perf. And Vishy gets a way better hit actually. Nice crit there. I feel like he just turns in, right? Yeah, Thermo, SB, not quite enough. But Harley with his long RD, yeah, he's in trouble now. Vishy should catch him at the end of the AB duration. Ooh, only SB range. But Harley's gonna walk into a dead end. Vishy has overhealed though, and his RD is now gonna run out. Yeah, Vishy gonna walk back. I think Vishy should win this because Harley made a mistake. If you didn't notice, he put the perforator. Vishy didn't put the protector yet, so Vishy can now just kite out the perforator and then walk in. And he should be able to get a guaranteed win off of that if Harley doesn't see it coming. Harley is also behind on HP, 78% versus... Yeah, Vishy sees it, he just wants to kite it out. He has an advantage at the moment. Harley shouldn't catch him unless if he took the corner more tightly. Doesn't look like it. I think Vishy should be thinking about turning back in now. The perforator will end fairly soon. I think if the perforator actually runs out, Harley's gonna just walk away. So if I were Vishy, I'd be turning pretty soon. Yeah, it fully runs out now. Come on, Vishy. See the opportunity that's presented to you. He doesn't want to go for it. He's gonna wait for his RD, I think. Should be coming up soon. Does a poke back and forth. Should put the prot now. AB. Ooh, that might be a good bait. Prot, Vishy, prot. RD. Okay. Gets the RD off. Did he use prot? Am I just blind? And now he puts the prot. Yeah. Harley doesn't seem to have a perforator, so Vishy is now winning the trade quite heavily, and his thermo should be close to back. He also has the closer line because he's chasing, so he will get into blaster range here, and I think that's the end of Harley. AB away, Fishy gonna chase, and 1SB finishes it. And we should have a winner in our first round, 1-0 to Mr. Fishy. And Harley Quinn selects Soul for a second system. So, interesting play there. So, I'm quite happy that, despite it being a mirror match, we didn't really get into that much RNG. There was a little bit of RNG, but Fishy playing very well around the long RD of his opponent, and also taking advantage of that birth raider usage by Harley that wasn't warranted. So, yeah, very nice plays, and Soul has been selected. Quite curious what ships we're gonna see here. I kinda hope that Fishy is gonna bring out one of his stun ships, because he quite favors them. The Punaria, I believe he has a milestone configuration, but I could be wrong about that. At least the Punaria, I know he likes it a lot in Soul, he plays a lot of it, but is he gonna risk it against an opponent that does have an Emperor available, which I'm fairly certain Harley has. I'm gonna try to check for you. Oh, Harley's on the top because he has a little dash in front of his name. Very convenient that PG does that sorting, as well as the sorting by capital letter. Like, if I look for a letter in my buddy list, let me show you what I mean. There, look. So at the top you get like the people that have a symbol, while we're waiting for these ships to come out. Then you get all of the people with a capital A, all of the the capital B above normal B. Ooh, no, don't do that. Wait, did they fix it? Oh, I'm stupid. No, they fixed it. Never mind. It used to be that all of the capital letters got sorted before all of the non-capital letters. About the ships though, because we have a selection. Fishy brings out his Hunter against Harley Quinn, who is once again flying an Emperor. So this is quite a favorite matchup for the Hunter, in my humble opinion. My not so humble opinion, actually, my professional opinion as Ascon's leading PvP analyst, or whatever title I feel like putting on myself. But yeah, it depends a little bit. If Harley can kite out the fight somehow, then he has good chances. But I expect Fishy to kinda just walk up and kill him. And there's not that much Harley can do about it. Harley moving in. Ooh, long repair droid. That's really not what you want against a Hunter. Instant AB, trying to kite out these... Was there a stun used or something? I'm a bit confused. Now there's a stun on the RD. Harley's just gonna prot, but the prot will die in just a few seconds. Let's see, Fishy already had to commit his RD though. Needs to stay on top of him. Gets the prod out, so Harley is now stunned for a few more seconds. Not that much. Almost dead. 1SB. There it is. Yeah, you cannot get away with a long RD against a Hunter. It's just not gonna keep you alive. So a little bit unfortunate on the tech choice there. I think by Harley, even with a balanced RD, I still favor the Hunter by a decent margin. But long RD is just not something that you can get away with against a high DPS ship like the Hunter. You really need to stay at a distance constantly. Even then, I feel like the Hunter, if it just puts buff and actuator, just the SBs from a Hunter are gonna outperform your pedally long RD. But that means we have a 2-0 for Fishy, and Harley Quinn selects MYST. MYST obviously, as I have mentioned plenty of times before, a pretty interesting system. All of the meta ships that you see in higher systems aren't as strong. CC is weaker because no good OS and no rapid trap. The Hunter is weaker because your SB is only a rare, your buff is only a rare, and the Emperor is weaker because the SB is only a rare there as well. Harley Quinn does bring out an Emperor, so possibly predicting either a Milestone or a Punari, maybe even a Locust. Locust versus Emperor, quite an interesting matchup. We haven't seen it, I believe, at all. Maybe we've seen it once. It's pretty interesting. I would still say I favor the Emperor though. The Locust just kind of lacks damage output. It doesn't have enough, you know. But we'll see. We'll see what Fishy brings out against it. Could also see some of the more rare choices. The Scorpion. Scorpion hasn't been particularly rare, but for people who have prototype level ships, generally they won't play Scorpion. And we see a Chrome. That is rough. Chrome v Emp is about as bad as it gets for the Chrome. Emperor, range exploits, superior DPS, protection against your orbital strikes, perforator against your protector. Realistically, your only hope is to... Is it okay if I change? Unless... Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Changing tech is fine if you don't do it because you know what the enemy's ship is. You're even allowed to do it, like, to change it because of what you predict the enemy's ship to be. Like, you're allowed to change to a long RD if you favor it against a milestone, and then back to a balanced RD if you predict your opponent to play an Emperor. You just can't do it after you know what the opponent's pick is. So, we'll see a quick RD change. I didn't even... Well, I saw that it was a Chrome. But yeah, we're gonna see. We have seen in the Skylork versus Razorkill match from a while ago. I highly recommend you go watch it if you haven't seen that one. Very, very good match. One of the best matches we've seen so far, in my opinion. And there we actually had an upset, spoiler alert, we had an upset win where the Chrome beat the Emperor by landing a very good OS. That was a strong OS though. And I feel like the Chrome's one-shot potential, like the comeback potential, isn't as big in Mysar as it is in other systems. So yeah, Harley also says easy win. And I'm inclined to agree with him. I don't expect Fishy to win this, but you know, it's an OS ship, anything can happen. AB in, break the range exploit, Harley with the dodge on the... That's just insult to injury, you didn't need to do that. But yeah, a little bit greedy. If Fishy does... he's in range. His ship is a little bit slower. It looks like Harley's slightly laggy in his movements. He was stuttering a bit there on my screen. I hope that's just me and not actually him stuttering. Puts the protector on Fishy, wanting to force a perforator. We're gonna see, is Harley gonna give it to him or not while he's not in range? Okay, looks like because he's at SB range, Harley not going to commit the perforator, 2 SBs, but the Emperor is the faster ship, and I apologize. I didn't have my cooldown drone switched, so I'll be a second out of the action here. We saw an OS. Let's see if we got a good hit. Not particularly. 73%. Don't think he used his protector yet. Harley choosing to just shoot the protector, and Fishy's still at range. Now going just for a reset, committing the magnet for it. And Harley with a really early RD, so fearing the OS's rapid ability to come back. He does have a long RD as well. Technically, he gets out DPS'd here, yeah. OS as well. Puts the protector, now puts the perforator, which is interesting to me. Fishy is capable, on paper, he's capable of kiting this out. Harley flying around the trap, Fishy back through it. He's gonna try to... I think Fishy should be able to get to the distance here. SB range at best. Yeah. Looked like Harley might have actually been able to walk into blaster range there, but choosing not to. Ooh, Fishy gets stuck on the corner. Blaster range. Not quite. Harley gets stuck on the same corner. Fishy very low though. 2 more SBs is gonna do it. 1 if it crits. Goes in for a desperation OS. Yeah. Protector, but the perforator was still running. It's gonna time out very shortly, I believe. Yeah, see, now it runs out, so... Not quite getting it there, and that's a 2-1. Harley gets one on the board, and Vishy gets to decide what system he wants to pick to try and claim his 3rd round. of this match. Let's see if there's a decision. Harley saying he finished amps. Finished amp configurations. So I'll take that as a decision to not play it anymore. Maybe I'm interpreting it wrongly, but yeah, Hardy has only used Emperors so far. Let me just rile them up a little bit. But let's see what system Vishy wants to select. Draconis. So we're gonna do a tour of all the systems, it seems. Let's take a look at what sort of Draconis ships we're gonna get popping off here. Quick sip of lemonade. My apologies if that came through on the microphone, or you're welcome in case you're into that ASMR trope that was popular a few years ago. Vishy already ready. Obviously he's the one selecting the system, so most likely he has a plan for it. And I'm intrigued. I'm really hoping we get to see some control ship by Vishy, because he's a very good Punari and CC Marlstone, like the control ships, he's very good at them. But it's gonna be another Hunter, which can be a control ship in the right game. But yeah, we're gonna have to see how this one's gonna turn out. There's an effort on this one. Otherwise the tech looks pretty normal. And yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really know Harley to play much of the classic Hunter counters. Like, I don't think I've seen him that much in Punaris or Marlstones, even CC. Like, we're gonna see. He's ready, so let's take a look. Hunter v Hunter. Okay, well, the best counter to Hunter is Hunter itself. You heard it here first. Wise words, truer words have never been spoken. And we're gonna see. This match is a little bit more interesting than the MVM on paper, at least. There's obviously a lot of dependence on the playstyle and on the item order, item usage. In the MVM we saw quite an interesting mirror matchup as far as mirror matchups go. Ooh, this is painful once again though. The long repair droid on Hardy, he really likes that long repair droid, but against a Hunter you just can't. He has the stun as well. Ah, he has a long stun, so he's gonna try to defend early on and then kinda use both items at once. Vishy's saying he specifically went Hunter because he fears the long RD. So let's take a look. We're off, and we're gonna get the first SB hit. Ooh, Vishy making a mistake, doesn't get a counter hit back, so now playing 20% behind. Hunter v Hunter, that makes a difference. AB in, AB chase. Vishy though already has the buff up, and that's an advantage. Hardy now commits both of his defensive items at the same time, but doesn't really have much in the way of following up on this. Vishy, kinda early RD. Hardy would still be stunned for a few seconds more. Vishy now in the long stun effect still. Hardy might consider walking away, and so he does. So we're gonna be playing it on SB range. And Vishy seeing, well, yeah, he's slightly behind. Going in for a poke. Vishy gets first strike. I feel like he should chase with this. And he agrees. He is now fighting into buff. Well, his has timed out, so not entirely favorable, but usually when you have first strike, you want to continue that. What I mean by first strike is that while they traded their SB hits, like they both did one SB on the opponent, Vishy did it first. And that means that once we get to the pod, Vishy will have his opponent in a pod first. SB is instant, there's very little delay. And now Vishy dies because, you know, He miscalculated the RD and he should not have stayed in range there. White stun as well. That's unfortunate. Yeah, counting on the stun and then it turns white is GG moment. Indeed. And that means that Harley ties up the score 2-2. So we have a series on our hands. Choice of system remains with Vishy for the time being. And we'll see what he wants to do. We've had all of the prototype level systems now, apart from low level Soul, which people generally don't pick. And we'll see if Vishy is gonna pick like a repeat system, or if he's going to go to the lower systems, Gemini, Vega and Terry's. Vishy goes back to Soul, implying we gotta risk to not use RD. First B was critty. Well, yeah. You gotta play risky, especially in mirror matchups. Playing careful is often a mistake, in my experience, because being careful tends to be exploitable, tends to be putting things too early. Your opponent kites it out, or your opponent gets it later, you overheal, stuff like that. It's not always good to pressure RD super early. Not too early, not too late. There is a precise moment where the perfect activation happens. But where exactly that moment is obviously very hard to decipher. And we'll see. Soul got picked. Last time we had an Emperor versus Emperor here. I believe Harley isn't going to play the Emperor anymore, according to what he said. So let's take a look. Vishy brings out a Hunter, most likely due to a prediction that Harley is also going to be in a Hunter. Harley is mostly seen either in Hunter or in Emperor, so not a very far-fetched prediction here, but we could see a surprise. I'm always open for surprises if it creates interesting fights for the fans, you know, everything for the fans. And we're gonna see what Harley brings out. Vishy, I was gonna go over his tech, but we've already seen it. Those of you that really want to know, this is the tech, it's a Hunter, this is the tech you're supposed, in brackets, to put on Hunter. And Harley with the Punari, so Punari, generally I would say the best or the second best option against the Hunter in the game. Depends where you scale the Punari versus the Milestone in this matchup. I think they're both pretty even, and I think they're also both pretty even with the Hunter itself, so we should have an interesting match. Harley once again with his combination of the, let me show you his tech, with the long repair droid and the long stun combination, so quite interesting. I feel like on the Punari I think it might work, but he does need to keep Vishy in range, and that's a problem. Already committing the stun dome as well, that's very risky stuff. Yeah, Vishy just ABs out. And what you gonna do? What are you going to do? Goes back to SB range, forces the RD. Ooh, walks into blaster range actually, that's a mistake. Also doesn't have the buffs yet. This is very good for Harley so far. Vishy now puts the buffs up. Should see a scrambler. Harley's gonna go for a stun actually. He may just kill him before the AB even comes back up for Vishy. Puts his own protector, puts the scrambler to try to keep the protector alive as Harley. And Vishy is out of defense. He has nothing until he gets an AB to try and get out. He does not win this firefight. Not into a prot scram, even with the buffs, you just don't win that. Both have afterburner. We'll see if Vishy can wiggle his way to a safe distance. One more blaster. One more blaster. There it is. Well played by Harley Quinn, so yeah. Those of you wondering about that matchup, the answer is violence. Violence is the answer, in fact. So, yeah, Punari, just walk up to him. It would have been better if he managed to keep Vishy in range, like prevent the first AB, just row a stun there. That's why I was kind of scared with the long stun usage. But it worked out. Fishy, I think he shouldn't have went back into blaster range. I feel like that's a mistake. Might have been a little bit of lag. Fishy has been known to lag, and I've seen that mess with his positioning before. But yeah, Harley, just a quick tutorial on how to beat a hunter. If you happen to have the Cryonite 2 by yourself, Punari that is. So yeah, just do the correct item order, stay on top of him, you're gonna win that fight. One of very few ships that can do that to a hunter. Almost every ship in the game loses a direct fight, but Punari not one of them. And for this tactic specifically, the Punari is better than the Marlstone. When it comes to countering hunter, Marlstone leans more on its control ability. Marlstone can still do a direct fight, but it leans more on control ability and, you know, using cooldown management to sort of catch the hunter when he's vulnerable. But you can go for a direct fight in the Marlstone. You can especially do that in the Punari. I think this is your best bet in the Punari, because in a long fight you're not favored. You're against an actuator ship. Punari doesn't win that, no matter how good your stuns are. But we're gonna see Harley now on match point and Fishy selecting Sirius. So and Harley throws out the MYST. Now, those of you who know me, I don't think I've mentioned it in commentaries before, but those of you who know me in game know that I am a gigantic fan of the Ancient MYST. I think it's an amazing ship. I have the nickname of Mystathen. For those who have played with me for a little while longer will know what I'm talking about. I adore this ship. I think it's really underrated in PvP, and it competes with a lot of the top picks. It does get countered though by certain picks, like that one. That's rough. That's very rough. Yeah, Harley really... I mean, the MYST against the meta, right? It's decent against Hunter. I wouldn't say it's favored. I don't think the MYST is favored against anything, any meta ship necessarily, but it's pretty good against Hunter. That's probably the matchup you're hoping for. It can sort of mess with the Marlstone and the Punari. It should lose both of those fights due to attrition, but you know, it's close. Emperor is not close. Fishy now pulling off the OS dodge, giving it back to Harley, who did it to him earlier. Harley long RD, so he needs to throw it out really early, but I feel like a missed OS is... That's almost GG already. There's just... It's not a thing you can afford to do, you're already behind. Fishy just puts the perforator in. Harley is out of defense. He has the long repair droid, he's gonna have to stun down. Try to get to distance, but he's just giving Fishy a free range exploit here. He's gotta try to stay alive until he can get an OS back and then pray for a crit. That's all he has at this point. Fishy can easily chase into this. His afterburner is a few seconds behind. He should have it by now though. I don't think he's going for it. Interesting. So probably trying to keep that for the purposes of dodging then. He is allowing Harley to get his defense back. Harley should have the long RD momentarily. The other defensive items, yeah, there it is. The other defensive items take a little bit longer. Harley now just trying to walk into range. Your ship is slower. So yeah, Fishy just gonna keep it at SB distance. Harley needs to AB in. Once again, you can't do that. It's too predictable. ABOS, don't do that, guys. If you get predictable, you're not gonna win against high-level opponents. I think that's a bit of a mistake there. I should throw out a blaster first, see if Fishy blasters back, then you can throw the OS, you have much better chances of hitting it. And Harley just trying to fight into it, but once again, he is OS-less. He does get a full prot's worth like of value. Fishy doesn't have the perforator for every other protector. But Harley, no RD. relying on Scrambler for his only defense now. AB's out, Fishy puts a preemptive protector, gonna get into range towards the end of this AB. Harley does get the RD back, but that's a long RD against a lot more firepower than a long RD is designed to handle, and he's about to tick down. Stun Dome, barely saving him. Fishy will creep back into SB range within a few seconds. There it is already. Walks back into blaster range. Harley does have the OS back. Fishy has to be careful. Fishy might die here. Whoa! Unbelievable! What? What? Why? Why, Fishy? Why? What? Holy hell. Well, I'm gonna be rewatching this recording to figure out what the hell happened there. That makes no sense. Did I I said it wrong at the end as well. I was not paying enough attention, clearly. I do apologize, because Harley OS'd against the Protector. He didn't have OS at the end there when I said he should have had it. But... Wow! Wow. Fishy just a little bit too aggressive, needing to range exploit a little bit more and then go in when... So yeah, Harley taking it 4-2 victory, defending his spot in the ranking, remaining at rank 4. Honestly, I'm a bit speechless due to that last match. Wow. Well, never count a ship with an OS out of a fight. That's all I have to say about that one. And never count a MYST out. MYST, pick this ship, people. It's good. It beats everything. Beats Emperors, beats Hunters, beats Milestones, beats Punari. The entire meta crumbles in the sheer dominance of the ancient MYST. I mean, just look at that ship. What's beating that beautiful boy right there? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, with that, this match is concluded, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out!